Hey everyone, and welcome back. So what we're actually going to be starting off with is just a little bit of review. This should be familiar with all of us from the beginning of the year with just graphing lines and slope. Some of you even did your projects on graphing lines, finding slope-intercept form of a line. So let's talk about this with just some basic definitions, and we're going to get started. So this will be a nice short lesson for us today. All right, so what do you guys remember slope is? Don't forget slope, dude. What is slope? Well, hopefully we remember slope deals with rate of change, right? We don't want to ever forget this vocabulary. Slope is rate of change. Okay, that's the change in y over the change in x, and we represent that with the variable m. We also associate slope as rise over run. And we also associate slope with the equation or the formula y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. All right, so there we have it. Slope again, rate of change. It's the change in y over the change in x. Remember, these triangles are actually a delta. It just means change in. We have rise over run, and then we have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And now, slope-intercept form, which we all know, that's just our standard equation of a line. So what is the equation of a line? Everybody knows this. Whenever I ask in class, what is the equation of anything? You guys always go right to y equals mx plus b. So when are we going to use slope-intercept form of a line? Well, we're going to use slope-intercept form of a line when we have a slope. So when you're given a slope and we know the y-intercept, right? Hence, slope is our m and b is the y-intercept. And we always start at the y-intercept and then graph from the slope. All right, so let's take a look at this first example here. So I have the equation y equals 1/2 x plus 2. So right off the bat, I notice, well, this is in the form y equals mx plus b, where my slope, remember, guys, because a lot of us like to do this, x is not part of the slope. It's the number out front of x, which is the slope. The number out front of x, the coefficient. So the coefficient here is 1/2. So my slope is 1/2, 1 over 2. And then the y-intercept, that's our b value, is 2. So let's write that out. And my y-intercept is 2. So when I come over here to graph this, I'm going to go all the way up to my y-intercept of 2, put a point here. And I'm going to rise 1 and run 2. So I'm going to rise up 1 over 2. Rise up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. And I want you guys to continue this all the way throughout the graph. Because now when we continue from this point right here, we're going to go now down 1, left 2, down 1, left 2, etc. all the way till the end. You're going to connect these with a nice straight line. And we always label our graph. So this is my equation. Y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Notice this has a positive slope. Positive slope, right? Puff, puff, positive. We're rising, and then we're running. Alrighty, so hopefully this was a pretty straightforward explanation and definition, just going through slope-intercept form of a line. Let's go through a few more practice problems. Okay, now let's take a look at question 2. So again, what form of the line is this written in? Well, our topic today is slope-intercept form. And that should make sense, guys. Slope-intercept. It goes in order. Slope, intercept. Okay, so I'm going to write that out. We have y equals mx plus b. So my slope here, my m value is that -3/4, and my b value is the -3. So let's write that out. We have m equals -3/4, which is equal to my rise over run. And my b value, which is the y-intercept, remember that's along the y-axis. We're going to graph a point along the y-axis. That's equal to -3. All right, so let's start to graph this. I'm going to come down to -3 right here on the y-axis. And we're going to rise by 3 and go to the left by 4. Right? We have rise over run. So we're going to rise by 3, left by 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we can rise down by 3, 1, 2, 3, and then run to the right by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm just going to continue this pattern. Up 3 and over 4. And connect these with a nice straight line. And then you guys have it. My y-intercept is at 0, -3. Remember, the y-intercept is always when x equals 0, which makes sense here. So I'm at 0, -3. And my slope is -3 over 4. So we rise 3 and we run to the left by 4, which makes sense for my graph here. Okay? All right, guys, we just got one more question, and then we are done with this little mini lesson. So let's take a look at question 3. I have 2x plus 3y equals -12. Now, first thing I notice is this in slope-intercept form? Remember, slope-intercept form is the equation y equals mx plus b. That doesn't look like that. So what should you be thinking to do first? What should you be getting by itself? You want to get y by itself. So let's start to do that first. Let's get y by itself. So I have 2x plus 3y equals -12. I'm going to subtract the 2x on both sides. Now, can I combine these? Is that going to be -14x? No, these are not like terms. So you cannot combine them. So let's leave this. We have 3y equals -12 minus 2x. I'm going to divide everything by 3. Everything gets divided by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. Remember, the same thing over the same thing is 1. So if I have the same number over the same number, that equals 1. So I'll have y equals -12 over 3 is -4. And then I have minus 2/3 x. Now, we have simplified this. I have y by itself. But is this in slope-intercept form? It's y equals mx plus b. Well, slope is m, and it's attached to x. And that's over here. So I don't like the way I wrote this order. Let's write it in standard form. So we're actually just going to switch the order here. I'll have y equals -2/3 x minus 4. And guys, there you have it. Now I wrote this equation in slope-intercept form. Now I can graph this. All right, well, we already identified that the slope here is -2/3, so I'm going to write slope is -2 over 3, not 2/3 x. X is your variable. It's always the coefficient. Never include x in your slope, ever. And then my y-intercept, right, so x is just our variable, write that. And now my y-intercept is this -4. So my b value is -4. So you guys know what to do. We're going to start at -4 on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to rise 2, run to the left by 3. Rise 2, run to the left by 3. Rise 2, run to the left by 3. Noticing this slope is negative, so that I am following the correct pattern, right? So we're going again, rise 2, or now fall 2, run to the right by 3. Fall 2, run to the right by 3. I'm just going to continue this all the way through. And you're going to connect this with a nice straight line. And lastly, don't forget to label. Y equals -2/3x minus 4. You could also, if you wanted to, label this as the original equation. You could have also labeled this as 2x plus 3y equals -12. Either or. All right, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you get started on that delta math that you have assigned, and this wraps up our lesson. Have a good day.